Welcome back to DIY Boomers. If your garage workspace is limited after parking vehicles inside, build this space-saving 54-inch wide by 28-inch deep mobile workbench that doubles as a power tool workstation. You can build this versatile workbench for right around $100. For projects like this, you can usually find dimensional lumber at the big box stores that looks great if you're willing to sort through the various stacks to find the good ones. Here's what I found at the Home Depot for the workbench. 6 2x4s for the legs and aprons at $3.47 a piece. I decided on 2x10s for the top and the bottom shelf for added strength. I paid $10.83 a piece for the 3 10-foot long 2x10s. I had the store cut them in half for easy hauling. If you don't have a planer, it's not necessary for building this workbench. It does save a lot of sanding though, and it gives it a more finished look. I ended up choosing 2x10s instead of 2x8s simply because of the quality. The 2x10s that I found had very few knots as opposed to the 2x8s, and the 2x10s were very straight and flat. Here I'm cutting the 2x4s to glue together for the legs. You could save having to do this if you buy 4x4s for the legs. It just depends on what's available and how it would look. Also not a big deal, but the 4x4s might cost just a little bit more. Now it's time to position the 2x10s for the best layout. Be sure to mark the boards for reference before moving around for drilling pocket holes and gluing. I use one of the older Kreg pocket hole jigs, the K4, which is less expensive but works really well. I'm using 2.5-inch Kreg pocket hole screws on the entire workbench. Here I'm placing them in the underside of the tabletop with the square head driver bit that is included in the Kreg K4 kit. Now I went ahead and drilled all the pocket holes needed to secure the apron pieces to the legs in both the tabletop and the shelf. Once again, mark all your pieces for where they go in your layout. Here you'll notice I'm laying a 1/4-inch piece of plywood under the support aprons for inset spacing on the legs. I did this on all the framing aprons to give the design a little interest and contrast. The top support aprons are installed flush with the top of the legs. I installed the bottom supports 1.5 inches up from the bottom of the legs. For trimming the tabletop and the bottom shelf, I clamped a straight piece of scrap plywood as a straight edge to do the cross cutting. Then I used a jigsaw to notch out for the legs on the bottom shelf. As you can see here, I decided to install a middle support underneath the bottom shelf and later on did the same for the tabletop. I didn't figure these pieces in on the original design and wood purchase, so I ended up just using a couple pieces of scrap 2x4s. A set of heavy-duty 3-inch high casters that are rated at 2,200 pounds for the set of 4. You could easily spend less, but I wanted heavy-duty. I'll put a link for them in the description if you're interested. And lastly, I secured the tabletop to the frame with the 2.5-inch pocket hole screws. I didn't glue the top and the shelf down so that they could be changed out later if needed. So there you have it, a handy mobile workbench that is also very flexible for garage workspaces. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Check out the rest of our content here on our DIY Boomers channel. See you next time.